Good morning, everyone. Allison Turner here, coming live from Delray Beach, Florida at That Cat Media Group Studios. I wanted to jump on here today and talk a little bit about entrepreneurship. And I'm a business coach, and I really love working with startup companies. But so often people have this really rosy view about entrepreneurship, and it's great. Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't trade it. But probably had I known some of these things before I got into it, I might have thought differently. And I think it's good to know what you're getting into when you get into it so you're not overwhelmed, so you're in reality. Because so often I hear people that go into business, they're like, oh, I don't want to work for anyone else. I want to make my own hours. I don't want to have to go through this job description thing. I don't want to have to go out and get another job. And it's all well and good, which is all those things are true to some degree. But in reality, entrepreneurship is a whole different thing. It is difficult from the standpoint that, no, you don't have a job description, but you don't have a job description, which literally means you do everything in a business when you start it, especially if you're a solopreneur. You're the accountant, you're the marketer, you might be the website designer, the service provider, the person, implementing the services, the person selling the services. You're doing everything. And that can be overwhelming when you're used to being in a company where they have all the framework in place. And your job is just this little piece right here. So you're one piece in the bigger company. And it can be tough when you're now doing everything. And you have to really prioritize the important things above the less important things, because not everything is important. So really important first, not urgent. You may perceive something as urgent, but is it really urgent, or do you really just want to avoid this thing over here because you don't like to do this? Because you may be doing everything. So number one, you are on an emotional roller coaster when you started a company, and that's just reality. You are up and down. You may have good days, good weeks, good months, and you may go into a slump. I mean, here you've heard all those stories when the pandemic hit in March of 2020. How many businesses failed because they just couldn't shift in time. They couldn't make that pivot. They didn't have money saved up. They weren't expecting it. You hear businesses fail all the time because they're not expecting something to happen. I mean, the common story, which I've referenced before, is that Blockbuster Netflix story where Netflix came along and Blockbuster's, no one's going to put us out of business. We're not going to do things differently. We're still going to have our brick and mortar stores. And I always liked the brick and mortar stores. Don't get me wrong. I thought they were fun. I mean, I always look forward, end of the week. Let me go in and see what movies they've got. Dang, they don't have the one I want. And then when Netflix came out, hey, I could just go on their website and I can figure out which movie I want and let me go order it and it'll be there the next day. And now you can just stream Netflix. So now, the world's your oyster. But it's that up and down in entrepreneurship. There's always going to be ups and downs, ups and downs, ups and downs. And it's really how you maneuver through those ups and downs that's important. It's learning how to have faith that once you put the systems in place, even if something's going wrong, that you can fix that situation. So you're not doing these mood swings of going up and down, because if you are in those mood swings all the time, that's difficult. So it's really figuring out, how can I, relax? How can I, if something comes along, how can I take 5 minutes, maybe do some visualization about what the perfect world is, maybe do a meditation, maybe go for a walk in nature. I mean, do something different to lessen the stress. Number two, the time commitment. I shouldn't say we've all read the 4-Hour Work Week, but the 4-Hour Work Week's out there. I've read it. I read it a long time ago. I've yet to figure that piece out. So if you can figure it out, let me know. But the time commitment. When you start a business, there's a significant time commitment. So yeah, while I can make my schedule, meaning maybe I don't have to be here in the middle of the day, like I might in a normal job, and maybe I can take that time off, but then I need to make that time up somewhere else. unless I literally don't have anything to do. So no, you don't have to work 9 to 5. Absolutely not. You can make your own hours and make them around whatever your schedule. If you have kids at home, work just when the kids are in school. If you have elderly parents, working around that schedule. If you need to go to a bunch of doctor's appointments with someone, working around that schedule, you can do all that. But again, there's still a significant time commitment when you own a business. It's not that you're I'm going to start a business and I'm going to work, 4 hours a week. It doesn't work that way. It will never work that way. So maybe once you get to be a successful company, but in a big company, you can have a ton of people in place, but again, the buck still stops with you if you're the owner of the company. And that's what people always want to understand when you start a company and when you go into entrepreneurship. Ultimately, the buck stops with you. So if someone's not doing their job, guess what? They're going to go up the ladder until they figure out, okay, who hired the person, who's going to pick up the slack for the person in the meantime until we hire someone else. All those things happen. Number 3, you always have to be learning when you're an entrepreneur. For example, AI has come out as a huge thing. It made its kind of entry last year, at the end of last year. Really made an entry, I should say. And if you're not embracing AI as an entrepreneur, shame on you. You have to be embracing AI. At least look at the tools that are out there that can make your job easier. Hey, Joshua, thanks for jumping on. So look at the tools out there that make your job easier. Look at the tools out there that can really help you, market better, that can help you decrease the time in your day. There's so many. There's organizational tools, there's marketing tools, there's idea tools. ChatGPT is great for just generating ideas. So look at those tools. But always be learning. So when you're an entrepreneur, you have to always be learning. Don't think, hey, I went to grad school, I got my MBA, I'm going to start this business and that's it. That's it. No, you got to be learning because technology changes. Oh, I'm not a technology company. I'm a pool cleaning company. Well, guess what? The technology that runs your company changes over time. So you need to be up on those changes because more than likely your competitors are up on those changes. The technology of how you do something in, say, the pool cleaning industry may change. I don't know that industry personally, but you need to be up on those because what if your customers want that? And it can make make it easier. So always be learning. Look for new opportunities to learn. Go to conferences, go to, in whatever your field is, look for those opportunities. I think, the one thing when I was teaching tennis, and that was many years ago, I went to conferences occasionally and they would talk about, new ways to do different things in tennis. And I really liked it when I went, but then I didn't go consistently. And I think, I always have loved to learn. And I've loved school from the standpoint of learning new things. I haven't always loved all my classes, don't get me wrong, but I've loved school from that standpoint. So I'm always looking for those new opportunities. But then once you find something, focus in on it and really learn it. Because that's the other thing is, entrepreneurs have that shiny object syndrome. So they're like, oh, I hired this coach over here, but now this person's over here and they're soliciting me. So you have to really be focused in on, hey, I'm going to learn this right now. And this is my focus and I'm putting some blinders on. And so when these other things, these other shiny objects come along, I want to really learn this. And that's really where you have to really focus as well. The next thing that's really kind of a myth in entrepreneurship is there is a loneliness factor, especially if you're a solopreneur and you start a company, or say you just start a company and then you hire people under you. There's that loneliness factor out there because it's your company. You're not talking to coworkers. Even if you hire people, they're your employees. And so that's where you have to really look at things. And in business, who can I connect with? So connect with other business owners, join masterminds, join coaching programs, create your own mastermind. That's a great opportunity as well. but you have to be looking for other people and other business owners to really support each other. And that's one of the biggest things in entrepreneurship. I network a ton down here in South Florida. And that's one of the things that I can really appreciate about networking is because I meet people from all walks of life. I meet different business owners. I meet all these different people in different businesses, and I can learn from most of them. Because even if we're in a completely different industry, there may be something they're using that I could use in my company and vice versa. So maybe they know an AI tool that I haven't come across yet that's been great for them. And I'm like, oh, you know what? I could really use that as well. So why wouldn't I create my own mastermind, create my own network of people I can go to? And then finally, hi, Joshua, you're down in South Florida. What part of South Florida are you down? Finally, really realize that failure is part of the journey. So when you're an entrepreneur, failure is part of the journey, and that's okay. Don't, some people are like, oh, I failed, and I I can't do it anymore. I mean, think about Jack Canfield. We always hear the story, or I've heard the story. You're not too far from me. I'm up in Delray Beach. So about 30 miles away, 25 miles away. I'm up in Delray Beach, but we always hear the story from Jack Canfield that says how many publishers he approached when he first started writing that Chicken Soup for the Soul series, that he had to approach so many publishers before he got that first book published. Now look at that empire today. I mean, I don't even know how many Chicken Soup for the Souls are out there, but if anyone can tell me that, that'd be great. But look at how many Chicken Soup for the Souls are out for. I mean, if he'd given up after like the first couple publishers turning him down, we wouldn't even have all these books out there. Jack Canfield wouldn't be where he is today. So think about, failure is part of life. I mean, think about, an Amazon when it started and where it was. I mean, we've seen Amazon, kind of grow up over the years and where it is today, being Prime Days today and tomorrow. So we've seen it grow up, but imagine what failures they hit. I mean, what technological failures they hit. 500 million copies. Wow. Jack Canfield's published 500 million copies of his Chicken Soup for the Soul series. That's amazing. But think about, how many technological issues Amazon's had, because obviously they're a big technology company to run that structure. Think about all those pieces that have gone into building that. We see the success. We don't always hear about the failures of big companies like that. And that's what you really want to look at is, if you start a company, failure is a part of what will be your success because you learn from the failures. And that's really what you want to treat them as, is learning opportunities. And when you can do that, then you're so much further along and so much, more successful down the road. So today, I challenge you, if you're looking to start a business or you're looking to, grow a startup, really think about entrepreneurship. And we think about all the positives of entrepreneurship, I can make my own hours. I don't have to answer to anyone else. I can create my own job description, all those positives. But embrace all the challenges as well, because they will hit you. The emotional roller coasters of entrepreneurship, the time commitment to really build a company successfully, the need for continuous learning. Always look for those opportunities out there. If you're in a chamber usually has great lunch and learns, things like that. Go to those. Learn, meet different people. The loneliness of entrepreneurship can happen, but when you network, now we have like a huge network online. You can network on social media, but really build the network. Don't be superficial in your network. You want to really reach out to people and connect with people to do that. And then embrace failures. No, none of us like to fail. I'm going to be the first person to tell you that. None of us like to fail, but realize you can learn from the failures and you can be that much better moving forward. So if you have any questions for me, my name again is Allison Turner. I'm a business coach. I work with startup companies or people that want to start a business. I also am a marketer. If you have any questions for me, feel free to reach out to me. You can go to my website, theallisonturner.com. So it's Allison, Allison, Turner.com. Or just reach out to me on one of my social media accounts. Look forward to talking to you and have a great rest of your day. Bye for now.